Good morning. Welcome to a very special video discussion for February 8th, 2013. A major winter storm is on the way, and we're going to break it down under 15 minutes because we have to get this on YouTube after all. So let's get to this. Okay, so what we have at the surface right now as of 7:54 a.m. are temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s over the northern interior, over much of the New York City metropolitan area, back towards northeastern Pennsylvania. Mid 30s, mid to upper 30s, basically along Long Island, back through north central New Jersey and over portions of the Philadelphia metro. And then along the New Jersey coast, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 30s to lower 40s. Notice the winds here from the east along the New Jersey coast and up towards Connecticut, but from the northeast more towards the interior. And you can see clearly where the cold air is locked in and where the cold air has been pushed out so far. But temperatures have stopped rising, and as a result we're starting to see a shift in the winds already from the north over around Delaware. We're down to 35 degrees here in Baltimore, and you can see that the cold air is not that far away. So I'm going to break down the levels here and show you exactly what I think is going to evolve here and how we're going to move forward. First, here we have the radar. You could clearly see our very dynamic and impressive subtropical disturbance. It's not a tropical disturbance, it's just a subtropical jet stream. Okay, this is disturbance 1, this is disturbance 2. This is the polar disturbance. Now, what's expected to happen and what's starting to happen is that this will phase with this. And this will bring the cold air. This will bring all the moisture and dynamics. And what you end up with this afternoon and especially tonight is a very dynamic, very powerful winter storm that will produce blizzard conditions, especially for the New York City metropolitan area up towards the Boston metropolitan area. This is going to be a very impressive storm. If you're getting rain now, do not be fooled. This is going to change over to snow, and it's going to come down heavy. And if you're along the New Jersey coast, yeah, you may not get the most snow, but you are going to be dealing with the potential for coastal flooding, which I'll talk about in just a moment. So this is a major storm that's going to impact everybody in one way or another. So you have to be prepared for this storm. So again, here's the interaction here developing with these two storms. Right now they're separate, but that is about to change. Taking a look at the latest infrared satellite picture, you can clearly see very strong lifting developing over the mid-Atlantic as our subtropical disturbance gets its act together. You can clearly see at the surface we are losing our surface features with the polar disturbance. And once these two really start to get going, you're going to see a lot of lifting really explode over the northern mid-Atlantic as a result, leading to very impressive snowfall rates developing right along the coast through Long Island, New York City, and up towards Connecticut. The water vapor satellite picture is even more impressive. You can see it clearly starting to develop, and we're starting to enter the very beginning phases of what will happen with this phase. We're just starting to tap into this potential energy as these two disturbances interact. And what we're going to look for at the water vapor satellite picture is this all becoming negatively tilted. In other words, this part merges with this part here, and you'll see just this huge storm just kind of comma shape itself and really intensify and just explode to the east of the Delmarva and then over the New Jersey coastal waters tonight. So we're starting to get there. We're just starting to enter it. We haven't pulled the cold air in yet towards the New Jersey coast, but we clearly have locked it in for Connecticut, New York City, Long Island, northern New Jersey, and northeastern Pennsylvania. So let me break down the levels here. Here we are at the surface, and this is the current surface temperatures as of 7:58 a.m. with the freezing line. You can clearly see it's moving along the Connecticut coast, back through northern New Jersey, through northeastern Pennsylvania, and back towards central Pennsylvania, south central Pennsylvania. You can clearly see still there's a separation between these two storms, but the stronger storm is clearly the coastal storm. So as you can see, it's starting to take shape, but we're not there yet. And you're probably saying, hey Stephen, I'm seeing rain right now and you have 6 inches of snow forecasted for me. Well, let's take a look at the different layers of the atmosphere, because while we're seeing this very tight gradient, take a look. Let's see here. Let's zoom in on this. You can see the gradient here is really tight. What does that tell me? Well, it tells me that once this storm gets its act together and winds start coming more from the north rather than the northeast and the east, these cold temperatures are going to crash towards the coast, and it really won't take much of a shift in the temperatures to change your rain over to snow. We really see that more impressively at 925 millibars. Take a look at this. You can see the cold air is just packing. We have a very impressive thermal gradient at the lower levels of the atmosphere at 925 millibars. The reason why I'm showing this is that we're still separated with this storm. Let's zoom back out again. When we zoom back out, you can see we're still separated here between the polar disturbance and the subtropical disturbance. So you can see they're kind of acting independently still, but they're starting to become one system. And so what we're going to be looking for over the next, let's say, 4 hours is this losing its definition and this cold air drawn towards this more powerful center of low pressure. So you have the cold air, basically you can see where the rain snow line is. It's basically from Long Island through north central New Jersey, through northeastern Pennsylvania right here. What's going to happen is that this line here is going to drop south through the afternoon and into the evening hours, and as a result, all the rain that's falling over central and southern New Jersey and portions of the Philadelphia metro will change over to snow. We see this even more impressively at 850 millibars, where the cold air is locked in at 850 millibars. This isn't going to warm up all that much. But you could already start to see the interaction between these two disturbances. Clearly the more powerful 850 millibar low is along the coast. This is going to start to collapse. This is going to take shape, and this cold air, the mid-levels, gets locked in. The mid-levels is going to remain cold. That's why we're going to be dealing with a very dynamic atmosphere with the potential for thunder snow this evening, because the mid-levels are going to remain much colder than the surface. But the key point here, especially at 925 millibars, is that this cold air here and at the surface has to be drawn towards this low pressure system. The faster this collapses, the faster that anyone who's getting rain will change over to snow. Also, I just want to point out at 850 millibars, look at this moisture advection. This right here, this moisture transport, tells me that we're just starting to see the development of this precipitation shield, and really we could expect more of an expansion to the west and more of an intensification along the coast as tremendous amounts of moisture is driven into an air mass that is cooling, especially at the mid and lower levels. So we're definitely seeing a change in the whole dynamics and structure of this entire weather pattern right now as we speak. Finally, I want to also show you 700 millibars. This is important. Keep an eye on this. As this 700 millibar low intensifies, any location to the north and west of this upper level low as it bombs out this evening is going to experience very heavy snowfall and impressive snowfall rates. So that's going to include central New Jersey, northern New Jersey, Long Island, New York City, the Hudson River Valley, and Connecticut. Northeastern Pennsylvania, you just missed the worst dynamics, the most powerful dynamics in this storm, I think. And then finally, honestly, at 500 millibars, you can see that we have an upper level low starting to develop at 500 millibars, okay? But we don't have a true phase yet at 500 millibars. This is more negatively tilted, this is neutrally tilted, means it's up and down. This is more from northwest to, from southeast to northwest. When these two phase completely, that's when this storm is really going to blow up. And that's why we're waiting a little bit until more like later this afternoon in the evening hours for this storm really to get itself organized and really get kick-started. But you could already see the jet streak starting to develop here with this 500 millibar low. So again, to reiterate the forecast here, I still like the idea of going 3 to 6 inches over eastern Pennsylvania, Hazleton, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Reading, Lancaster. And I know that there's some higher snowfall totals out there being put out there, possibly by the National Weather Service. The reason why I'm going with these snowfall totals is not because of changeover, but because the lifting is going to be so intense here. I think we're going to see a breakup in the snow here. It's always under forecasted that influence, and I think that in this case it's really going to show up, and it's going to undercut some of the snowfall totals that are going above 6 inches. So again, if the lifting isn't that strong along the coast, then you could definitely get into the 6 to 8 inch range, but I think it will, and that's what's going to suppress the snowfall here. Down towards southern New Jersey, again, this will be the last place where you'll see the change over to snow. And I'm looking at 1 to 4 inches of snow. The faster the changeover, the higher the snowfall potential. That's pretty much it. For the Philadelphia metro, again, mixing and rain right now. Changing over to snow, the faster you change over to snow, the higher the snowfall potential. I still like 3 to 6 inches here. I do think that if you do get some banding, it's going to be on the north side of Philadelphia. And but for the most part, I think the best dynamics are going to be to your northeast towards central New Jersey and on northeast towards southern New England. In my 6 to 12 inch area, again, looking for anyone who is in rain, like around Monmouth County here and back towards Trenton, is going to change over to snow first. I have all of these guys down here. And so that's going to lead to snow rapidly piling up, and believe me, it's not going to take much of a temperature drop and much of a shift in this storm to lead to that rain changing over to snow. Looking for 6 to 12 inches in this area plus, and that plus is for the mesoscale banding. I would not be surprised if New York City gets over a foot here. Same thing for Long Island. Very heavy snow, blizzard conditions, wind gusts over 40 miles per hour. This is going to be a very nasty snowstorm and blizzard for many locations in the New York City metropolitan area. And of course, over Connecticut and eastern Hudson River Valley, looking at 12 to 24 inches of snow or higher, depending on your mesoscale banding. Again, do not be surprised from Connecticut on southeast through central New Jersey for the potential for thunder snow. That's basically a thunderstorm with snow and very heavy snowfall rates. And again, for the entire coastal plain, looking at the potential for coastal flooding, flooding that would produce about a 6 to 8 foot higher waves than what's currently normally expected for high tide and low tide. So a significant coastal flooding threat can be expected for the entire coastal plain. And also, these winds are going to be very strong. Do not be surprised to see wind gusts over 60 miles per hour right along the coast, 40 to 50 miles per hour just away from the coast, and over the interior 30 to 40 miles per hour. Combine that with heavy wet snow and you got a high potential for power outages. So I'm going to have live coverage throughout the day, keep you posted on exactly how this storm will develop via NYNJPA Weather and NYNJPA Weather on Twitter and Facebook. Be safe out there, and thank you for following NYNJPA Weather.